So I'll do a little story time, a true story time about TDI now. I mean, apparently they'll let anyone be a detective inspector these days, apparently. And I'm going to keep this short because the police have took multiple hours off me today with their actions, not only the effect it's had on me, but also what I've had to do since and what I'm going to have to continue to do to prove the massive abuse of power, targeted behaviour, and how they're basically not treating me like a human. They're treating me something like they've stood in, and they keep kicking me whilst I'm down, and just basically ruining my life and affecting me so much that it's having a detrimental effect on me, along with the people committing crimes against me. They're just protecting them. Now, I've said to the police on numerous occasions that I will go public, and basically they don't believe me. Now, it's got to the point where I'm going to have to go public due to their actions and their continued behaviour towards me. I feel like they're bullying me. I feel like they're singling me out. I feel like they're targeting me. I feel like they basically will allow anyone to do what they want to me, regardless of whatever evidence I may or may not have, if there's any witnesses or not. And it's not just my opinion, it's opinions of other people, but actions do speak louder than words. Now, the police constantly make me out to be someone I'm not without actually any evidence or proof of me being these things. It's just their way to try and justify their actions or lack of actions. But you can't justify singling out someone, treating someone like they're a piece of shit that they've literally stood in numerous times, knowing that they're affecting that person's mental health, knowing that they're affecting their life not only by their actions but lack of actions, and knowing that they're basically allowing people to do whatever they want to me. Now, it has come to the time where they've gone too far today. Firstly, they know not to attend my house. They know how it makes me feel. Now, I can prove they know how it makes me feel because firstly, every time I ring up or if I do an online report, I do put, do not attend my house or address because I have severe anxiety surrounding the police. Now, that's me wording it very nicely. Now, they have had a letter off a doctor talking about my anxiety surrounding the police. And I also put on that I'm heavily targeted by my neighbours if the police come to my house, which I am do, which I have given them proof of, but there you go. I've also had to put complaints into the IRPC, and they've also been told not to attend. Now, they know by attending it's going to cause me severe anxiety, it's going to affect my mood, and it's going to affect me for the day, or if not days afterwards, due to the effect they have on me. They're very bullying, they're very intimidating, and they know that. So the fact that they attended today and made it obvious who they were by wearing a jacket saying police and trying to film me, that again shows the singling me out. Now, CID are not meant to film victims, which they've told me. They've also told me DCI Tom, and if Tom wants to say any differently, I think we're going to know what I'm going to do. He said they're not allowed to record me without my permission. Now, she didn't have permission to come to my house first off. She knew by attending my house it would cause me severe distress, and it did. It also stopped me from going out due to the effect it had on me, and I had to make phone calls about what had happened. And also, they know not to attend here. They did that to make people aware that they were attending. They've not contacted me at all. They've not tried to speak to me. They've not tried to take a statement from me. Now, this particular thing that they've done a fake investigation over was reported February, March time, right? Never once has DS, or she's not a DS anymore, she's pretending to be a detective inspector. Team stands for temporary, or sometimes it stands for training. I mean, I think she needs to go back to basics really, but there you go. Apparently they're allowed to bully me. And she's never once contacted me, and I've rung 101, and they basically gave them a crime reference number, and they spoke to her, and she said she'll be in contact with me. Now, that was many months ago, and I can prove when it was. I've kept records of everything, because with the police, you've got to keep records of everything, because they basically abuse the powers, say you've said things you haven't said things you haven't, and they just behave badly, which is wrong. Now, I won't stand for this DS Heather Martin, whatever your title is now, because you've caused me severe distress on numerous occasions, which you're fully aware of. You knew today would cause me distress, yet you've decided to do it. You've not done an investigation because you've not contacted me for a statement. Now, anyone listening to this, I'll tell you right now, when I made the report, I did it online, because when you ring 101, you don't know what type of call taker you're going to get. Some will listen to you, Some will partially listen to you and some definitely don't want to know. Now, when you're reporting something that you find highly distressing, you don't want to be put in the position where you get a call taker who's offhand with you, doesn't really want to know. If it's something difficult to talk about, you don't want to be put in that position to begin with. You should be able to ring 101 and talk about it and not feel like, you're the worst person on the planet because they're making you feel like shit and they're not trying to take anything from you. They're not trying to get enough to write anything down, and they're offhand with you. So then you've got to make the decision if you're going to report it, because B, to be honest, you might as well go and smash your head in and shoot yourself in the head with this team, let's be real. And then you've got to decide if you're going to put up with the abuse on 101 to try and tell them, or if you're going to do it online. Now, I did it online because I thought, at least I'm not going to get the abuse from a call taker, or if I do get a decent call taker, they might, they're either going to let me tell it enough or they're not going to let me tell them much. So, you never know what you're going to get. So I decided to do it online because I just did not want to be put through 101, and also the fact that I may be on hold for up to an hour or longer. You never know. I mean, there's been times when there was once, I think it was 2.5 hours. So I did it online, which isn't always the best thing to do because that can take up to 40 minutes to fill out the form. Now, I know I didn't go into detail because I knew they would contact me, or they're meant to contact you, and then I would tell them. Now, seeing as Heather Martin has not bothered to contact me once, not tried to take a statement, not tried to help me, because she decided 18 months ago or longer, I think it's longer now, that she didn't like me. In fact, that entire team, for the first time I had any contact with them, tried to treat me differently to how they treat everyone else. And I kept saying, no, this is not how it works. I know how it works because obviously I do have a solicitor and I've been told this isn't typically how things are done. So day one, I was treated differently from anyone else. And this has always been my complaint with the police. I don't want special treatment. I just want to be treated like anyone else who's gone to the police station or rung up or done it online. I want to be treated fairly. Now, the police have singled me out since this harassment started, and they treat me really badly because of what jobs my neighbours do. And I truly believe that. I believe if it was someone else who worked in a supermarket, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with working in a supermarket, at the end of the day, a job's a job, but I think it was someone who was working at Tesco, did it to someone other than me, I believe the police would treat it differently to how it's been treated because it's me. But because it's me and because it's my neighbours or whoever it may be, the police are just like, you know what, it's Melanie, we're not even going to do a fair or proper investigation. Now, I rung 101 on 3 occasions and I got made aware on the first phone call that Heather Martin was involved in this, and I immediately said, this is out of order. Heather Martin has been offhand with me previously. She's not answered questions that I got told would be answered. She's not done this, she's not done this. So I thought it was highly unprofessional due to her behaviour in the past that she was now given this. Now, that straight away I knew wouldn't be treated fairly due to how she's been with me previously, which is wrong. She should treat every case like she's not got anything, don't know that person, and if she's got an issue, she shouldn't have anything to do with it. Now, she clearly has an issue with me, and she thinks it's acceptable to make me feel suicidal on more than one occasion, not treat me fairly, and allow crime to happen to me with not investigating it. So she's not contacted me, and I did put in a complaint about her. Now, this wasn't taken seriously because even though I complained to the IOPC, it goes to professional standards first, and they're meant to do an investigation, which they didn't because they didn't contact me. And then when the investigation's over, if I'm not happy, then it's meant to go to the IOPC, like I can just ask them to then deal with it. Now, unprofessional standards, as we call them, didn't even bother to investigate it. They never even contacted me. They never did anything about it. They probably had a laugh about it because professional standards has caused me severe distress on numerous occasions because of their behaviour and their attitude and how they basically refuse to do anything about anything that is reported about any member of the police staff. They basically just let it go on and on and on and on. They just, they don't try and get evidence. They don't do anything. They just don't want to know. They just cover up for police crime, and that's it. And that's why we call them unprofessional standards, because they're anything but professional. So basically, they've got this complaint from me and they're just like, no, we're not going to deal with it. We're not going to do the proper investigation. We're not going to do anything about the fact that Heather Martin's causing Melanie distress, that she's singling Melanie out, she's not doing her job properly, that she's just, nothing. So I did numerous complaints. I did a complaint on the 19th of March, and I basically, and this isn't word for word because I don't have the report in front of me, although I did screen record it, but also when you put your email address in, you do get a copy of what you've put. But I basically went on about what I'd reported and that I'd not heard from them, and even though, even at that point, I've not even been given a crime number. Then on the 23rd of March, and the report I'd made was on the 18th of February, so I'd reported it 5 weeks previously, and the police basically ignored it. They didn't contact me, and I basically said they're treating me differently from anyone else, and that if anyone else basically made the same report, they would have done something about it. And I gave them the crime number because obviously I'd been given a crime number. Now, this was 5 weeks after I'd reported this, and this is one of the things that Heather Martin basically not investigated, because you'd have to contact the victim. So she didn't do anything about it, and basically I rung 101 again later on. I think it was probably in April, I believe. And again, Heather was mentioned again about being involved. So on the 5th of April, again, I put another complaint in via the IOPC, which again, professional standards have not contacted me about, even though they have to contact you within 6 weeks. So obviously it's past 6 weeks now, they've not contacted me. And I basically said that I'd reported this crime 7 weeks previously. And I said that they'd gaslit me and that they'd left me feeling utterly distraught and afraid for my life, because that's basically how I feel. I said that they treated me unfairly, they weren't treating me like anyone else who'd reported the same thing, and I felt that they were picking and choosing who they were going to help. I also put on the report that I'd made them aware of my mental state and how I was being made to feel and all of that. And then I also mentioned she was DS Heather Martin, she's not now, and that I'd been told that she was the one involved, and I said that I am not at all shocked that she's refusing to treat me fairly, as she'd been horrific to me previously and lied about me and didn't want to help. I also said that 2 weeks prior to this new report that I'd put in with the IOPC, that I'd got told 2 weeks previously that she was going to contact me, which was 5 weeks after it had been reported. So now obviously it's 7 weeks, and that I'd never had any contact from her, and that again I'd rung the previous night to me making this report, and basically saying that this is proof that the police are bullying me and singling me out. Now, I've not had any kind of contact from professional standards about this report, even though they're meant to contact you within 6 weeks. Now, I've also reported other things to the IOPC prior to this where they've not contacted me. Now, they're meant to contact you and they're meant to send you the findings of their report. They're meant to gather evidence from you and they're meant to do a thorough investigation. Now, we all know that professional standards will never do a thorough investigation, and the majority of the time they won't give you time to submit any evidence because it makes the cover-up even harder or longer to do. So they've not done that, so they've not given me the opportunity to then go forward with a complaint to the IOPC, because they know if it goes to the IOPC, I can prove 100% what I'm saying is true, and they don't want that because they want all these things to be covered up. So basically, unprofessional standards are not doing their job. They're basically covering up crime that the police are doing, and they're covering up bad behaviour, they're covering up what they're allowing to do. Now, Heather Martin has basically abused her position. She's caused me severe distress on numerous occasions. I mean, what happened today, turning up at my house fully aware. I mean, she even said to the call taker, who repeated back to me that they know not to just turn up at my house. So she's fully aware not to turn up at my house because of the effect of me, yet look what happened today. So I have spoken to the Telegraph, and I've also had numerous conversations, and another newspaper has been contacted, and I'm not going to say which one it is, but it's not one that I've previously named because I didn't even think of this newspaper. It is a national newspaper. I think it's actually international, but it's not one I've mentioned before because I've mentioned 2 papers. If you've ever watched my videos, you'll know I've named the Telegraph, Lancashire Telegraph, and I've named one other national/international paper. And then today someone said, what about such and such a paper? They will definitely do the story. Now, everyone that I've spoken to are very keen on this story. And I've basically said, at the end of the day, the police have neglected their duty of care and they've treated me unfairly and different to everyone else who has, reported any kind of crime. And I said that, basically, I mean, my dad and I have been saying for a long time that they've started to crime things now that they should have been criming all along, because what they're going to do, and it's actually been proved now, what they're going to do is they're going to pretend that they've investigated it. They're not going to speak to us because they don't want the whole information and they don't want any more evidence or evidence in general. And then they're going to do a fake-ass investigation and claim that they can't find any findings. Well, firstly, to do an investigation, if you do get a crime number, they're meant to contact you to take a statement. Now, seeing as no one's actually contacted either of us, because we've both been given crime numbers, to make any kind of statement, then they cannot conduct an investigation, because based on what I've put on some of my reports, you know, you're limited for space anyway. There's not enough information in these reports to do even a half investigation. And they're relying on the fact that there's not enough information, because they're going to go, well, we've not got enough information, there's no findings. Well, you're not going to find any findings, because firstly, you actually need to speak to the victim. You need to take an official statement. You need to ask them if there's anything else they've remembered, if they've got any evidence. Now, I've got evidence on things that I've not told them about or I've not put attached, because the evidence is not always readily available, or the evidence is such a big thing that they don't take the size files on the uploading system that they have on the reporting system, which the police are fully aware of. It's almost like they don't want you to provide any decent evidence. So they've not contacted me at all. I've made numerous attempts, and I've also put complaints in about Heather Martin. Now, the fact that Heather Martin's still allowed to do this to me and cause me severe distress and not doing a proper investigation, she should really be suspended and be thoroughly investigated, because she's done this before to me, and I believe if she's done it to me, she's probably done it to other people. They shouldn't pick and choose who they help. If someone asks for help, they should do it. But because I'm me, and because I do speak out about the police, they target me because I'm an easy target, because I'm a vulnerable adult, which Maggie Oliver's team have said, and Maggie Oliver says all the time. Now, I have been in contact with Maggie Oliver's team, and I do update them with what's going on, because they're fully aware of what's going on. Now, it's not a coincidence that names that I've mentioned, other people have mentioned to them. So it just goes to show that there is a pattern to people's behaviour, and that it's not just me naming certain police officers, other people are naming them too. So that says a lot when people are naming the same police officers for the same reasons or very similar reasons. Now, I've never once asked for special treatment. I've just asked to be treated fairly, like a human, and not to be made to feel like a piece of shit, to made to feel so low that I don't know what to do with myself, and to be at times made feel suicidal by not only the people causing these things to happen to me, but also the police abuse of power, continuously singling me out and not actually investigating things. So after today, it's obviously the police are just going to not investigate anything. They're just going to give crime numbers. They're not going to ask for a statement. They're not going to ask for more information. They're not going to ask for any more evidence. They're not going to ask for any witnesses. They're not going to ask anything, because at the end of the day, they don't want to help me. Just me personally. Now, I know they've done this to other people, and Maggie Oliver is trying to stop it, because obviously, if you're a victim of any kind of crime, the police should deal with it. Now, the police are just protecting people and letting whatever happened to me. I've spoken to TDI Darren Irving, who at times has been offhand with me and has not helped the situation, and he made me out to be someone I'm not. Hazel Richardson, DC, she might be DS now, she was the one who was meant to be involved at the beginning, and she said things to Darren which weren't accurate, and then he tried to backtrack and say he misunderstood her. No, you can't misunderstand her, and I was nothing but open and honest to a Hazel. Now, if Hazel wants to make me out to be someone I'm not, all I need to do is tell the truth about you, Hazel, and what actually happened and what you actually ignored, because at the end of the day, I'm not the one lying, and I won't be the one who's going to be targeted by the police anymore. If I've got to go public about every single report and give the papers my screen records of my reports and the seriousness of the reports, and prove that the police do things deliberately to cause me distress, and the proof that I've told them these things, the proof that they've never contacted me, the proof that they've never done a fair investigation, and the proof that they're going to come up with their own version. Everyone I've spoken to, I said to them, because they've said, well, we'll have to speak to the police for their version. I'll tell you exactly what the police are going to say. And I said what I believe what I know the police will say. I said, when they say that to you, come back to me and I will prove otherwise. I said, I'm not going to say how I'll prove otherwise, but I can prove what they're going to say is not accurate. And I can do. And I'm very confident in that. If I weren't confident on it, I wouldn't be sat here saying that right now. I can prove what the police are going to say about me is not the actual truth. Alienating me and trying to make sure I've got no one on my side. I've got plenty of people on my side, Rasso. And you can do what you want. You can say what you want. You're abusing your power. I'm not having it. Today you've massively affected me. You've affected me since September 2022. I'm not being singled out. I'm not being lied about, and I'm not being abused, and I'm not allowing you to help people get away with crime. I am the victim, and I'm the victim of the police, and I will give the papers whatever they ask me for. And when you give your version of events, which I know isn't true, I'm going to do what I should have done a long time ago. And I'm not going to say what it is, because I got told a long time ago, before this situation with this team, I got told to keep my cards close to my chest, or don't show all your cards. I think it was don't show all your cards. And at the time when I was told that, it didn't make any sense to me, but it does make sense to me now, because if you're playing a card game, which obviously I'm not, and you're trying to like see what they've got or whatever it is, you don't show all your cards. You might show them too, and then they might think, oh, they haven't got a good hand, or they might have an okay hand, or I've got better, I'll show them a little bit of what I've got. I think that's what's meant by it. So I'm not going to say what I've got on here. I'm going to wait until the police have said the untruth version about the things. Then I'm going to show what the reality actually is. Because I've protected myself against the police, because I've been told to. And I've been around the police enough with the corruption from the neighbourhood team in Darwin to know you need to record conversations. You need to screen record your reports. If you ring 101, you need to record it. If you speak to the neighbourhood team, you need to record it. If you put any kind of report online, you need to screen record it, because at times they've said I've not put things in reports, or they've said I've said things that I haven't. So unfortunately, you've got to protect yourself against the police, even as a victim, because whenever they choose, they will just say whatever they want, and they'll make someone out to be whatever they want, and they'll make that person want to die and try and take their own life because of their behaviour. So the truth will come out. Everything I'm saying I believe to be true. And there's this little thing called evidence. Now, I've been uploading my evidence to numerous places on private, because I've been alerted to the fact that the police will try and get hold of my phone to try and see what I've got. Well, good luck with that, because firstly, it's in numerous places. It goes to a minimum of 3 different places. A lot of the stuff goes to more places, because I just know how the police work. And secondly, there's something where you can just completely go back to factory settings on your phone. So when everything was taken off my phone that I need, every time things are uploaded, I can just blank it completely. So you can't see what I've got on you, because it's off my phone, and it's in places where I can access and other people can access. And it will be made public, because I'm not being bullied and targeted and allowed to be harmed. You've not done your job. You've not took a statement. You've singled me out. You've picked on a vulnerable adult. You've made me suicidal. You've affected my life. You're allowing people to affect my life. And you're just bullying me. It goes beyond belief. I mean, I can believe what they're doing, because they've done it to me for years now. I'm a victim of the police. The police need to be prosecuted. Heather Martin needs to be suspended with immediate effect. Darren Irving needs investigating. The chief DCI needs investigating. The entire team needs closing down, because the way they're treating victims, not just me. I have spoken to people, and I'm not naming names, and everyone knows when I start talking, I can't shut up. So I'm not going any further with that. But I do know that I am not the first person who has been treated like this by certain members of the police teams that have been involved in my life. Now, how about you actually do your job? You don't become a police officer to bully, intimidate, abuse your position, and just not help people. If you become a police officer, it shouldn't be about a power trip. It should be because you want to help people, you want to do right by people, and you want to bring criminals to justice, not pick on vulnerable adults and allow things to continuously happen to them. Now, I will be giving every report. I will be backing it up with evidence, and then I'll be backing it up with more evidence of the police when they start spouting all the crap that they're going to come out with. Now, I've heard what they've said about me. Darren Irving has repeated stuff Hazel has said, which has been inaccurate, and when I've said stuff, he's tried to play down that he's misunderstood. No, you've not misunderstood. Hazel did the one thing she said she wouldn't do, and she's turned me into someone I'm not when I've been nothing but open and honest with her. Now, would Hazel like to explain why she ignored 2 serious disclosures and didn't do anything anything about it. And on that note, it ends here.